Hi, welcome into today's gentle yoga flow. Today you'll just need your yoga mat and be against a wall. Go ahead and get situated on your mat. This practice is really great for those who have lower back pain, or if you're on your period, or if you're just really wanting to get into some gentle inversions. Try to get your hips as close as possible to the wall. So to do this, just rock your knees side to side, slowly inching your sit bones closer to the wall. Once you find your spot, just bring your heels up the wall, and they can either be straight or generously bent. Your arms will fall naturally either by your sides, or they can rest on your belly or your chest. Start to let the weight of your body sink into your yoga mat, just feeling the earth wrap its arms around you. Start to quiet your mind and your body. Your only intentions for the next 10 minutes is to just be here, be present, and be grateful. If the legs start to feel heavy or tingly, bend the knees so the soles of the feet come to the wall instead. This also puts more pressure on your lower spine against your yoga mat. Any other adjustments or movements are done gracefully and almost without any thought to it. Just like when your hair falls down the side of your face, comes down naturally and without any thought process to it. Starting to change position, let's bend the knees, tuck them into our chest, and wrap our hands around our shins. Gently rock side to side, massaging your spine from left to right. Changing movement again, lengthen the legs up the wall again and let your left heel fall to the left, right heel fall to the right. If that's a lot for your knees, or maybe if you're like me, you don't have a lot of wall space, you can let one leg fall more towards the earth and more leg go up the wall. Check in to see how the gravity on your legs feels. If it's a lot of pressure, you can place pillows or blocks underneath the outer edge of your thighs. Once you're comfortable, let that gravity open up the inner legs and release any tension in the pelvic floor. Take this next minute to hold this pose, finding a natural rhythm in your breathing, making any adjustments when needed. So if one leg is closer to the ground, at any point you can switch sides or adjust your arms. Try to find a stillness and silence in the mind. If your mind tends to ramble on, then just think about your breathing or think about your muscles expanding and contracting as you're breathing in this pose. Take this next moment to just sit in silence and be present with yourself. To come out of this pose, bring your hands to the outer edges of your thighs and hug the heels together, bringing them back up the wall. Point and flex the toes a couple times, and then bring your right ankle just above your opposite knee, finding your figure four pose. Then to intensify the stretch, slide your left leg down the wall. It's okay if your hips slightly come off the earth. If this is super intense, then you can rock your hips side to side to scoot away from the wall. If this pose needs to be intensified, think about pressing your right knee away from your chest while your left knee pushes your figure four into your body. Check in with how you did with our last moment of silence. Did you feel like your mind wandered, or did you feel like you had a quietness in the mind? If you still feel like there's a rambling of the thoughts, then I invite you to start your Ujjayi breathing or ocean breath. This breathing technique is where we inhale and exhale through the nose, but the breath hits the back of our throat as if we were breathing with our mouth open. Your breathing will sound like the ocean softly in between your ears. If you'd like, find an additional movement by bringing the hands to the floor and lifting your hips off the ground. finding a figure 4 shoulder stand. Hands can either stay grounded on your yoga mat, or you can bring the palms to the back of your hips if that feels like better support. Take 2 more rounds of breathing in this pose, and then you can remove your hands from your hips, lower your tailbone gently down to the mat, and unwind your figure 4 pose. Switching to the other side, now bring your left ankle just above your opposite knee. Bend your right knee, guiding the right foot down the wall so the sole of the foot touches down. If you need to adjust where your hips are at against the wall, then you can rock side to side to adjust that pose. Settle into this other side figure 4 pose, a completely different pose. Maybe it mirrors your other side, or maybe it looks slightly different. Once you've settled in, find either a natural rhythm of breath, or you can find that ocean breath, paying attention to the ocean sound in between your ears. Now prep your stance for a shoulder stand figure 4. Bring the hands down by your side. Plant the palms against your yoga mat. Exhale to lift the hips away from the earth. Option to stay here or bring your hands to your lower spine. There's a slight space from your chin to your chest, and you're still breathing in this pose. When you're ready to come back down to the earth, come out of it the same way you came in. Re-lengthen the legs up the wall. If you scooted your hips away, you can scoot them back closer to the wall. We'll be heading into a bridge lift to a full shoulder stand, so take this moment to adjust your position if needed. Eventually find your knees bent with the soles of the feet shoulder width apart against the wall. On your exhale breath, plant your hands down on the ground, lift your hips away from the earth. Hands come to the lower spine for a supported shoulder stand. If you'd like to move away from this pose, you can bring one foot away from the wall, followed by the other. Same technique as you come into your plow pose. Let one foot fall down behind your head, followed by the other. If your toes don't touch the ground, then grab a pillow or grab a block so you find a little bit more grounding support for yourself. A calming variation is to bend the knees so they put a little pressure on the top of your forehead, sort of the same way a weighted blanket gives you this nice comforting pressure. Find your ocean breathing in this inversion. If you haven't already, come out of your inversion the same way you came in, settling the hips on the earth and hugging the knees into your chest. Rock side to side if that was a lot of pressure for your spine, and then take an optional happy baby pose with optional rocking side to side. Your next exhale out, bring the soles of the feet together in butterfly pose and put the outer edges of your feet against the wall. If more pressure is needed, place your palms on the tops of your thighs and press towards the wall. Your next inhale in, you can release your hands, bring the knees back together, and start to head into a Shavasana pose. Since this yoga flow has been against the wall, you can come back to legs up the wall. If your legs are sort of tired of being inverted, then go ahead and scoot back onto your mat and find a traditional corpse pose. You have the option to continue your ocean breathing for Shavasana if it helps you quiet the mind. If not, go ahead and find your natural rhythm of breath. Find 3 inhales to exhales to fall into Shavasana. Your next breath in pulls you away from your stillness. You can start to make any adjustments or movements to the mind or body. Wherever you're at, start to tuck the knees into the chest. Once you're there, take 3 mindful inhales and 3 mindful exhales to slowly transition out of Shavasana to your normal everyday movement, slowing, easing your way back into your daily routine. Rock your knees side to side and let them fall over to the left or right, finding a fetal pose. Once you find this fetal pose, take 3 mindful rounds of breath. Slowly make your way up to your seated position, either an easy or hero pose. Bring your hands to heart center as a sense of gratitude for being gentle in your flow today. And bow forward as respect to your yoga. Namaste.